Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh norah tehilot. Osefele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh.
On page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing, for you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai haporesh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'al Yerushalayim. We are looking at the peace of Shabbat, and on page 44, we sing about the people of Israel keeping Shabbat through all the ages. Veshamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti liolam veshameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz veshameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vaynafash shavat vaynafash shavat vaynafash veshameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We approach this part of the service that is simply called tefillah. It is about prayer. If you are able, I invite you to stand for Tefillah on page 46.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatayv Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatayv Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imot V'Umei Bikuloyom V'nei V'nechem Leman Shemo V'Ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayel HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach Morim HaKashem Mechayel Chaim Bechesed Mechayel HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Novlim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Mikamocha Bal Gevurot Umidom Elav Melech Memit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'nei Hanatah Lechayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Kadosh Shimcha Kadosh U'Kodeshi Lechol Yom Lechalu HaSelah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. Page 53. Days pass and the years vanish and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illuminates the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe in this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 63. Create a pure heart within me. Let my soul wake up in your light. Open me to your presence. Flood me with your Holy Spirit. Then I will stand and sing out the power of your forgiveness. I will teach your love to the lonely. The lost will find their way home. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. We take this time for those words to soak into our hearts, the Tefillah Halev, the prayer of your heart, thinking about what we've said and what is dearest to your own heart.
say shalom bimroma. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru.
We turn now to the thoughts of others, those who are in need of healing, those who are in need of comfort. And we turn to page 253 to see what that prayer is in Hebrew. We are going to mention the names of those we are thinking about, those who have lost loved ones in the past 30 days, including Emily Solnick, and others for whom we are saying a Misha Bera would be Donald Weinberg, Jim DeRoss, Lloyd Gerard, Dolores Spector, Adela Seaman, John Garcia, Mila Hoist, Bobby Brickman. If you have others that you are thinking about and want to add their names, if you are online, by all means, enter that in the chat so we can include it in our evening prayers. And if you're here as I go around, please say those names out loud.
Camerote family, Kinsel family.
The prayer of the Misha Barak is on page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu mekor habraha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Vayera, which is the portion for this week. It takes me back to 2007, when I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, to the Hebrew Union College to participate in the Schindler Outreach Fellowship Program. I had been to HUC before, having done training there only 2 years before to serve as a Shliach Kehila, a lay leader for Temple. And of course, I did look forward to going there to have some more of that wonderful Grater's ice cream they make there. Ooh, very good ice cream, and I am inordinately fond of ice cream. But that isn't the remembrance that I wanted to share with you today. The workshop was great, and when I returned to El Paso, I sat down with Rabbi Bach to see how we would implement this training here at Temple Mount Sinai. He reminded me of this week's Parsha, Vayera, and from this we took the name for a program of welcome based on recounting of the welcome of Abraham and Sarah. Thus began the program that has become Open Tent here at Temple, taking its name from the beginning verses of Vayera. Of course, this Parsha has some of the most well-known and controversial texts in the book of Genesis. Abraham welcomes 3 visitors who announce Sarah will have a son. Abraham argues with God about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's home is attacked by the people of Sodom. Lot and his 2 daughters escape as the cities are being destroyed. Lot's wife is turned, famously, into a pillar of salt. Lot impregnates his daughters, and they bear children who will become the founders of the nations of Moab and Ammon. Abimelech, king of Gerar, takes Sarah as his wife after Abraham claims that she is his sister. Isaac is born, circumcised, and weaned. Hagar and her son Ishmael are sent away. An angel saves their lives. God tests Abraham, instructing him to sacrifice Isaac on Mount Moriah. This is, of course, the part known as the Akedah. All of these within one Parsha. But the story that I want to recount is a simple one at the beginning. It goes this way. We learn about our patriarch Abraham, whose kindness to guests was exemplary. Abraham kept the sides of his tent open so that he could watch for the arrival of guests. On this particular occasion, Abraham was in his tent recovering from his circumcision. However, when he saw strangers coming, he swiftly ran to offer the very best that he and Sarah could offer. The welcome he and Sarah provided included providing the guests water for washing their feet and bidding them to rest in the shade. The guests were also served a leisurely feast that consisted of cakes, a fine meal, and tender calf. Abraham was such a gracious host that when they left, he began walking with them to send them off. This is all in Genesis 18. So Abraham and Sarah went to extraordinary lengths to make their guests feel welcome. Both he and wife Sarah worked very hard to ensure that their guests, those strangers, were comfortable, safe, attended to, and sated. They made this their priority and spared nothing in the endeavor. Abraham ran to meet the stranger. The Hebrew has these words. He hastened into the tent and told Sarah to quickly knead the bread. He then ran unto the herd to fetch a calf and hastened to dress it. Rabbi Nehemiah Leibowitz tells us, Abraham's example has inspired his descendants down the ages, who have always been distinguished for their hospitality. Hospitality is the classic example of love of humanity, altruism, and good deeds in general. Parshat Vayera brings us one of the most important Jewish stories of kindness to strangers. The concept of hospitality, also called haknasat orchim, literally bringing in of the strangers, being extended to others is a central value of Judaism. An act of gemilut hasadim, loving kindness. Haknasat orchim is considered a mitzvah or commandment. Modeling more than the standard level of courtesy, Abraham taught ensuing generations the true meaning of hospitality. He didn't just fulfill this commandment, he did it enthusiastically and wholeheartedly, fully embracing the joyful mitzvah of Haknasat Orchim. Later in the book of Genesis, we read of Laban's kindness in welcoming both Jacob and Abraham's servant Eleazar, which leads to the further development of the line of the patriarchs and matriarchs and their ongoing relationship with God. In the book of Judges, Manoah's welcome of an angel leads to the birth of his son Samson, whose immense strength defeats the Philistines almost single-handedly. Similar statements urging us on to better hospitality appear regularly throughout rabbinic literature, the Haggadah, Musar text, and throughout virtually all of the Jewish canon. Hospitality has its rewards, it seems, with substantial and long-term benefits for those who practice it. In a devar on this subject, Rabbi Stephen Pierce reminds us that in the world we live in today, we are experiencing a period when public officials and private citizens tend to demonize the other, be they immigrants, foreigners, strangers, women, individuals of different sexual orientation, and the poor. This means we live in tragic times, says Rabbi Pierce. Whereas welcoming the outsider is the biblical underpinning of so many Genesis narratives, this sacred principle is not always preeminent because the Bible is a human book that not only promotes ideals, but also notes the failures to live up to them. So important was hospitality to Abraham that he allowed his communion with God outside the tent, this moment of religious ecstasy, to be interrupted. He affirmed the important lesson that social responsibility must supersede religious belief and practice, which was later articulated in the Babylonian Talmud. Welcoming guests, it says, is greater than welcoming the divine presence. Vayera contrasts the treatment of people at the margins of society. They can be ignored or they can be welcomed. They can be abused or they can be protected. Everyone benefits when hospitality for outsiders is woven into the fabric of society, an important lesson that needs reinforcement in every age, especially during this modern age in which the political climate demonizes the other, rather than honoring and uplifting the strangers in our midst. Just as well, everyone benefits when hospitality for outsiders is woven into the fabric of our own synagogue. The setting of Vayera is so much like our own here in El Paso, another desert. We can easily identify with the setting. In the years since Open Tent was initiated here at Temple Mount Sinai, dozens of curious and eager seekers of knowledge and understanding have attended and participated in the program to learn more about Judaism and to decide if this is a path for them. Please let Rabbi know if you know of someone who is searching and could benefit from Open Tent. The message is clear. How we behave as welcomers often determines the outcome of our relationships, and the implications are serious and long-term. May we always bring in the strangers in our midst, honor and uplift them within our congregation, and see the reflection of the divine within them. Ki hiyu l'ratzon, may it be so. Shabbat shalom. We turn back to page 5 for our Kiddush. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'achava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lama'aseh v'reshit kehuyon tehillah lemikrae kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat Chaltanu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
We turn to page 282 for our concluding prayers, beginning with Elena. Page 282.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotze bereshit, shelo asanu kageye haratzot, velo samanu kimishbechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegoralenu kechol hamona. Vanachnu korim umishkavim umodim livnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Vayom chahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 290. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. We will be reciting the Mourner's Kaddish from page 294. If I am reciting the name of one of your loved ones, we invite you to stand if that is your custom, and then we will stand as one community, all of us, to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Those who have died in years past include Elizabeth Alvillar, Ingeborg Arnett, Silvana Assel, Samuel Balk, Gussie Voles Birkin, Samuel Blumenthal, Nathan S. Borshaw, William Bromberg, Ike Cohen, Gertrude Colton, Bernard V. Dargan, Irving Duvener, Sally Engman, Eva Cooperman Feinberg, Bernard Fennenbach, Naftali Frankel, William D. Goldfarb, Emily Harris, Irving Katz, Sonia Katz, Jake Cobrin, Mimi Late, Anna Diamond Lieb, Irene Lerner, Alan Levine, Leslie Levy, Dora Malkiel, Doshi Martin, John McGuire, Suzanne Nagler, Joseph Prensky, Emil Reisler, Max Ryder, Bernard Rodsky, Catherine Levine Roman, Hyman Rothstein, Cornelius Ryan, Joseph Schmel, Neil Schenig, Bernard Schwartz, Phyllis Schechter, Ray Sherlis, Goldie Silverman, June Snow, Lena Strelitz, Liba Swift, Lee Thomason, Maria Luisa Treviso, Edwin Wisburn. Are there others that should be mentioned at this time? Please rise as we recite Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alman divrachi ruta v'yomit malhuta. V'chayehon u'yomechon u'chayet Beit Israel. V'agalav isman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevorak le'olam u'mayeh u'mayah. It barak v'ich pat v'it par v'it roman v'it naseh. V'it hadar v'it halel v'it halal. Shemei de kudasham brehu. Le'al min kol v'iratav v'shivratav. Tush b'chatav v'nehematav. Da'amin ba'alman v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. Ve'haim alenu ve'al kol Israel. Ve'imru amen. O say shalom bivraman. Uya say shalom. Alenu ve'al kol Israel. Ve'imru amen. You may be seated.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru.
At this time, we call upon our board representative, Lada Krenovich, to read announcements.
Thank you very much. Good Shabbos to everybody. And it seems like a very simple idea, just read announcements. But in Russia, we all know it's not always simple. We had a satirical song when the guy in the last minutes needs to read the text, and without thinking, he starts reading it until he comes to the point as a mother, because it was prepared originally for the lady. So I'll try not to make this mistake. So, and in general, looking at the crowd, again, I'm remembering from Russia, we had a war movie that everybody knows, where there is a part where the person looks around and says, there are few of us, but we are the Marines. And of course they win. So we are the Marines in this sense. There are few of us, but I think the atmosphere is as good as if we had the full room. So welcome everybody, and of course many thanks. Well, thanks first to the greeters. We were greeted today by Susan Jeffy and Bob Novick. Thanks for the beautiful service to Tina. Thank you very much. And thanks for the music. Thanks for Mindy, who did beautiful singing, and thanks for Elvira for the beautiful accompaniment. Thank you very much. You really contributed to the spirit. So, thanks also to the Shabbat sponsors. Streaming was sponsored by John, Christine, and Joshua Schechter in the memory of Phyllis Schechter, Bonnie Colton in memory of Gertrude Colton, Amy and Clement Marcus in memory of Mimi Late. The Bima sponsored Lolly Scott in memory of Catherine Cat Roman, Heidi and Jerry Appel in memory of Marcel Aureliano, Mark and Dory Fennenbach in memory of Bernard Fennenbach, Eddie and Robert Treviso in memory of Susan Nagler, and also Eddie and Robert Treviso in memory of Maria Luisa Treviso. Carl Ryan and Susie Davidov in memory of Cornelius Ryan, Tommy Goldfarb family in memory of Bill Goldfarb, Susan May in memory of Bernard Schwartz, and Amy and Clement Marcus in memory of Mimi Lade. Kiddush, which will be following the service, is sponsored by Sue Bendelin in memory of Mimi Lade, Phil and Glenna Geddy in memory of Bernard Fennenbach, Susan May in memory of Bernard Schwartz, and Amy and Clement Marcos in memory of Mimi Lade. I am asked to remind everybody that thanks to all of you. Remind everybody that all the traffic in Temple will be rerouted up and down through the Canyon Joy Street exit drive. So the most important thing is to drive slowly and cautiously, because this is a new way for us. In principle, while the exit drive is narrow, two vehicles can pass side by side, but we need to be very careful because the road is windy, and hopefully it will last only a few days. So if you know somebody who is planning to come, please tell them. This is kind of important. So there will be the following events. Tomorrow, 9:30, There will be Torah study, which this time is in person only. And there will be Shabbat morning service also in person only. There will be no streaming of Shabbat Saturday events. Then on Sunday, October 24th, religious school begins at 9:30. Then on Thursday 28th, as often happens, Rabbi Zeidman in person or online will lead adult education. There will be 2 sessions which are identical, 10:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the evening. Also on Thursday at 5:30, there will be rehearsal of Shir Hadash under the direction of Stephen Jackson, who was the choir director for the High Holidays, so you all remember him. So if you're a temple member and you want to sing with the choir, you're very welcome. You don't need to be a world champion singer. All you need to do is the love of singing. I can tell again from my experience, I'm not singing in the choir, but when I went to the 1st grade, everybody was laughing at my singing, including my mom, which is very unpedagogical, but still. But at least they learned me more or less to sing in tune. So I think they do that in the choir as well. So Friday, November 5th is Shabbat service where we honor the volunteers. There will be a dinner following the service, and RSVPs as usual are required. The cost is only $5 per person. So please contact the temple office if you have any questions. And October 31st is Character Day on Sunday in religious school. Again, everybody is welcome. Kids will go from station to station, learning different characters like teamwork, creativity, and everything. That's supposed to be fun. There will be also a meeting of parents and congregants. So please, and thank you very much. Good Shabbos again.
There's a little bit of something for everyone going on at Temple. This weekend, of course, there is a retreat, and those of us who are here in person didn't go, but a number of our congregants are in retreat up in the mountains, and that's an activity. If you didn't make it this time, it's our 2nd annual retreat, congregational retreat, so you might keep it in mind for the next time. We will conclude our service with the singing of Shalom Aleichem on page 340. If you are able, I invite you to rise.
Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom alechem, Heveinu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem.
May you have a week of peace and rest and creativity and teamwork and all those things that we're trying to teach the kids. And we will have a kiddush in the foyer immediately following services.
Good Shabbos.
Yeah, we enjoyed your singing.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Honored.
Thank you, Tina, so much. Your sermon was so beautiful. где не так дорого.
Где это будет?
Это, ну, вот это. То, что там так называется. Ой, ты боже мой. Ну, где всегда?
Окей.
Это синема, то, что раньше.
Синема.
Я забыла название. Вот, то есть, ну, хорошо, а как ваша свекровь? Ну, то же самое, то есть не сильно получается.
Иногда лучше, иногда хуже. День так. Утром лучше, вечером
Знаете,
хуже.
я так не переживаю. Ну, в смысле, я понимаю, я вот тут переживаю, но что мы можем
Мне
сделать?
все понятно. Рационально я все понимаю.
Да,
Но я просто вижу моего мужа, он...
да.
Мне очень жалко это. Понятно, что это не моя мама.
Нет, ну это и вообще это и не его вина, это просто генетика.
Да, и
что
я ее
вы?
очень люблю, она очень хорошая женщина. Очень хорошая женщина.
Ага, да.
Так что
Так что все, что вы
мне жалко его мужа.
Да.
Он старается очень, и каждый день он ее. Завтра у меня день рождения. Завтра мы идем туда. Только могут посетители 6 человек только могут зайти. Мы идем, у нее сестра будет.
Главное, чтобы с этими, когда всплеск опять пойдет в нас, чтобы она не заразилась.
Да, и уже тоже там сделали выставили.
Ну да, но все равно как бы
Это да, все у нас.
в Ютепе вот у нас был этот какие-то что-то как это хомками, и естественно там все время присылают именно, что вот вы были в где был кто-то позитив.
А да?
И я хожу в тесте. Я